Good evening to Let's Talk Things Over, episode number 2. As this is more of a recording thing so far, I'll just get started, and if someone drops in, that's perfectly alright. If you have any questions, I try to fit them in. Otherwise, after the stream, contact me in-game, write me messages. I will try to get back to you. Last time we have covered how to move your ship, that you should use auto-firing, that you should use keybinds to control everything, that you should get a clean UI, basically don't get anything into your way of seeing what's going on, basically. After that, we covered all the available space powers. Today I want to go into a little more detail here on what we actually need to PvE properly. So we will focus a little more on what we actually want in our ships, which ships allow us to get what we need, and which builds we basically can build around them, which then also will lead to which items to get. So that is quite a lot to do, therefore I will try to get started here quite quickly. As you can see, I have brought up the list of all available abilities once more. And abilities that we really should look out for. Let's start out with the tactical ones, okay? We always want on every single build a tactical team. Now, we want that to be at a 15-second cooldown, so we can either go for 2, or we can go for 1 with Aux to Bat, or with duty officers. Those are the 3 major options. On most escorts, so beam builds are not counted here, like on most escorts with cannons, you will get 2 to 3 ensign tag stations. Therefore, you don't run into any trouble. On cruisers, you might have to Aux to Bat it. Using the duty officer is very rarely only seen for very specific builds. Okay, so we need the tag team 1 here, basically on all our guys. That is what you usually will see. We want to get 1 attack pattern to upgrade every other attack increasing ability. Like if we use cannon scatter volley, we want an attack pattern to back it up. If we use fire at will, we want an attack pattern to back it up. Now there are different attack patterns. We have the lower tier attack pattern beta 1 and the attack pattern delta 1. The 1 doesn't really matter here. And at the upper end we have the attack pattern omega. Okay. So the problem is the attack pattern omega has a 1-minute cooldown and an internal cooldown of 30 seconds for the attack pattern lockout. If you use an attack pattern beta, that only has a 30-second cooldown and a 15-second internal cooldown. So only running 1 attack pattern omega only allows you for every second attack increasing ability, like scatter volley, to actually be backed up by an attack pattern. Therefore, using 2 attack patterns, different ones, even if you run 2 attack pattern omegas, you still get the 30-second cooldown. That's why it's called the internal cooldown, as it is the minimum activation time in between for the same ability again. It's not necessarily the same ability, but same copies also count here. So you want the attack pattern omega and probably another attack pattern if you can fit it in. If you cannot fit in multiple attack patterns, for whatsoever reason, like if you fly a cruiser, there might come up an issue where you just don't have enough tactical space, okay? Then you can go for either attack pattern omega 1, which is the lieutenant commander version, or you could go with attack pattern beta to actually have it on all the fired wills, for example. Okay, so for your average build where you run a escort, you would go for cannon scatter volley, attack pattern omega, attack pattern beta, and attack team. You will usually see 2 cannon scatter volleys, so you get down to that 15-second internal cooldown. For beam boats, you would see the beam-fired wool instead of the cannon scatter volley, whereas the attack parents themselves actually stay the same. Commonly used for the scimitar, for example, the attack cannon Omega 3 and Beta 1 in conjunction with two beam-fired wool 3s. Then you have two tag teams, and then you actually have a spare slot, which can theoretically be anything if you use it for certain trades. That is really not necessary, and you shouldn't look into that if you are trying just to get into DPS things. For the science abilities, like what you will see on all the escorts and damaged cruisers will be the hazard emitters, as it puts out the plasma fire, which comes onto your ship by the Borg torpedoes. It also provides some hull resistance against further damage. Just generally very much used. It's a good ability. You could also see the transfer shield strength,